The Los Angeles Lakers have struggled in multiple regards all season. Their bench mob seemed to hog the ball and were incapable of playing as a team. LeBron was injured for a large stretch and didn't play a lick of defense for an even bigger stretch of the season, and injuries seemed to hit almost every player on the roster over the course of the year. Some of these issues help to explain their faltering record and the fact that they won't make the playoffs. But the majority of the blame lies at the top for the Lakers. The decisions to sign most of the Lakers' off-season free agents was an attempt to zig while the rest of the league zagged. However, it woefully failed. Turns out that surrounding LeBron with shooting and defending role players is a strategy that has worked for the past 8 years for a reason. These struggles led to all kinds of controversies surrounding the Lakers. There were reports of a grandfather offer for Anthony Davis which consisted of Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, and multiple future first-round picks. The Pelicans ended up not taking this deal, a mistake in my opinion, and the Lakers instead traded Ivica Zubac to the Clippers for Mike Muscala. A horribly short-sighted mistake that saw the Lakers deal a young player with incredible promise for an old stretch big who has seemingly forgotten how to shoot. But while the offer to the Pelicans and the trade to the Clippers were bad, they are in the past. And for Magic, Rob Pelinka, and the Lakers, they must turn to the future past this season. And a huge part of that future is whether or not they will pull the pin on a trade for Anthony Davis. The Lakers will be competing for Davis with the Boston Celtics and many others in the off-season. In fact, I imagine that nearly every single general manager will pick up the phone and chance their arm at one of the best players in the league. But there is a reason that the Celtics and the Lakers have had their names pop up in almost every trade situation for Davis. With Jason Tatum and Brandon Ingram respectively, they have two of the best available young players in the league, and the Pelicans will likely be fixated on getting one of them. However, the Lakers and Celtics will be very careful with their young talent. They don't want to give them up alongside too many other assets, and will instead try and protect their depth and future while acquiring AD. This has been one of the big questions surrounding these deals. Are the Celtics and Lakers going to be able to part with their developing pieces, or will another team swoop in with a huge offer to steal AD from under them? The other big question has been who is more valuable, Jason Tatum or Brandon Ingram. For most of this season and last season, I think nearly everyone would have said Tatum, but now the tide might finally be turning. Brandon Ingram has been absolutely incredible since the start of the year, and particularly since the All-Star break. Before the season, everyone expected Ingram to be the clear number 2 player next to LeBron, a guy who could create for himself, defend, score, and dish the ball effectively to his teammates. But while Ingram was good to start the season, it was nowhere near the heights that were expected of him. He averaged 16 points, 4.2 rebounds, and 2.3 assists a game in the first half of the year. Apart from the assists which had dropped slightly, these splits were very similar to the year before. So while it was clear that Ingram was playing well, I think that because he had not made a significant improvement, people were beginning to lose faith and placed less value on Ingram. But this storyline has completely flipped since the beginning of the year. Brandon has averaged 20.5 points, 6 rebounds, and 3.6 assists a game, all while shooting over 51% from the field and 35% from very limited 3-point attempts. This is the Ingram that people expected to see at the start of last year. He has been the clear second option next to LeBron, and at times has looked the calm presence that the Lakers need. Especially since Lonzo Ball went down, we have seen Ingram with the ball in hand as the primary playmaker far more. We saw him thrive in this semi-point guard role at the end of last season, as he had the best stretch of his young career before this year. With Rondo and LeBron still playing for the Lakers, Ingram doesn't quite get the ball just as much, which makes these numbers even more impressive. What it also shows is that Luke Walton really has no idea what he is doing with his rotation. The two best playmakers in the half court on the team are almost definitely LeBron and then Brandon Ingram. Rondo is good at passing the ball, but he just doesn't possess the threat to score in the half court that BI and LeBron have. This means that defenses can respect him less and just play for the pass. So you'd think that without Ball, and even with Rondo injured for a bit, that Luke would figure out that he needs one of LeBron or Ingram on the court at all times. You know, stagger minutes like any normal coach in the NBA. Instead, Luke plays LeBron and Ingram for the entire first and third quarters together, then he pulls them together and leaves the team without either of them for the start of the second and fourth quarters. For me, I'd start them both and then pull Ingram at the 6-minute mark and swap him back in for LeBron at around the 11-minute mark of the first quarter. Then in the second quarter, I'd pull Ingram at the 8-ish minute mark and put LeBron back in. Then you can put Ingram back in with around 5 or 4 minutes left in the game. Both players would be playing around 36 minutes a game, and you don't play a single minute without one of them on the court to score and create. It also allows them to play around 6 to 8 minutes as the primary ball handler in the half court without having to watch out for the other guy getting his shots. Now this isn't to say that Ingram and LeBron don't have good chemistry. They definitely do, and are developing it even more over the last few games, but simply that it can give them the opportunity to get theirs and be the star under lights without worrying about the other. In saying this, you definitely don't want the offense to drop off by splitting them up too much. For this reason, I think it would be wise to try and play Kuzma as many of his minutes when LeBron and Ingram are going solo. Big Kuz is a great shooter and secondary offensive player. He would help provide spacing and be able to create his own shots without demanding the ball too much. Kyle has shown these abilities this season, and I think he too would benefit from more staggering of the minutes over the Lakers roster. But regardless of who he has shared the court with this season, Ingram has found ways to succeed in scoring and passing the ball to his teammates as well. In doing this, he has reminded me of the player that we saw in his 1 year at Duke and in the back half of last season. A potential star. He's using his insane length to drive to the basket and then reach through the heavens with his long arms to finish. Like Giannis, Ingram has really long legs and can take huge strides while still maintaining great body control. He uses these big steps to make some insane Euro steps and steps throughs that slice through 2 or 3 guys in the paint. These kinds of moves are really hard to stop, and Ingram uses his quickness to get past his defender before utilising them. This means that he frequently does draw the double and even triple coverage in the paint. And while he can slice through them, he's becoming great at hitting some nice passes to the corners and to cutters down the middle. These long strides are used in the half court, but where he's been devastating is on the wing in transition. Ingram will frequently let one of LeBron, Rondo, or Lonzo Ball bring the ball up the court on the fast break while he sprints down the wing. The defensive attention will always be on the ball handler in transition, and teams simply don't cover the wings as much as they should. This allows the Lakers ball handler to hit Ingram on the move, where he'll have more space to operate. And this has been especially true since the All-Star break, where Ingram has been slicing and scoring in transition to score a heap of points for the Lakers. These points have been a big part of the reason why he's been so dominant since the All-Star break. Since that time, he has actually averaged 27.8 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 2.5 assists per game as he takes up more of a scoring focus for the Lakers. And he's doing this while shooting 57% from the field and 53% from deep. Now the disclaimer must be made that this is only over the course of 6 games. But in these games, Ingram is showing that he can consistently take the ball to the basket and score for his team. He's also shown a deadly efficiency with his jump shot, which primarily reminds me of his Duke years. Ingram has been draining jumper after jumper in the mid-range, the post, and even from 3. He's looked absolutely lethal out there and is adding a whole new element to his game. And in response, players are defending him hard, and have hands in his face, are grabbing his torso, and are doing everything they can to do to stuff his shot up. And he just keeps on draining shot after shot. Seeing him play like this is a reminder of why people used to compare him to Kevin Durant before he was drafted. Before the draft at Duke, he was an extremely long, skinny player who shot in the mid-range at an incredible clip and scored 20 points a game. Sure, he didn't have the ability to drain threes, but he was reminiscent of the Slim Reaper for sure. Over the first 2 years of his NBA career, people laughed and laughed at the Ingram and Durant comparison and said it had been ridiculous. But now when you watch him slice through the lane and drain tough jumpers, you can see shades of Durant in him. Now I'm not saying that he's going to end up being that kind of player, but he is definitely on the up in terms of his long-term value. In my mind, Brandon Ingram could actually be a franchise player. The kid is still only 21 years old and is already dominating games on the offensive end. I can't even imagine how good he will be when he is 24 years old, with 3 years more experience down the track. He has the potential to be one of the toughest players to stop offensively in the league. Plus, he's a really solid defender as well. Ingram uses his length and his quickness to stay in front of guards, contest shots at the rim, and grab a lot of rebounds for a wing. He has made heaps of improvement on this end of the court since his rookie season, and this really captures Ingram's improvement over the course of his 3 years in the league. In his first year, he averaged only 9 points a game. His second year, he jumped by 7 points to 16 points a game, and now he's up to 18, and could theoretically hit 19 or even 20 points per game by the end of the year. If he keeps on improving at this rate, he could eventually become a 24 to 26 point per game scoring wing, just as he has been since the All-Star break. And for this reason, I think the Pelicans might still push for Ingram in the great Anthony Davis trade saga this offseason. A lot of speculation has the Pelicans really targeting Jason Tatum, but if I was them, I'd be leaning back to good old Brandon Ingram and the rest of the Lakers' youth in my trade pursuits. In reality though, it does make this deal tougher for the Lakers slightly, as they have control over Ingram's restricted free agency. When you add this to his rapid development, his value goes up, and the Lakers might find it tough to part with their young star. But the reality is, if you can get Anthony Davis, you get him. For now though, just sit back and enjoy Brandon Ingram dominating the league like we thought he would back in Duke. Thanks for watching guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more future NBA videos. And let me know in the comments below what you think of Brandon Ingram and the Lakers.